Hey guys, today we're going to show you how to put a remote start on Mom and Dad's black '89 town car, the one they're going to be driving every day because their other car had it and it's cold, and Mom and Dad both really miss the fact that the car's warm when they walk out there to get in it. Plus, Mom really misses her remote keyless entry with the key fob. So this is the remote start I like the best. I've been using them for years by Avital. This one is part number 4105L. And it's got the lock and unlock and the trunk release, and then the start button in the center is what starts the car. So this is the one we're going to use, and I hope Dad can get that on here because these things are really intimidating. And sorry, you're going to hear the furnace run quite a bit. We will use all of these wires here, this one, but we're going to get rid of most of these, and we won't use all of these. These will be the lock and unlock, and of course you'll use, let's see, this is your program button, which honestly I probably won't use, and I will explain that when we get farther into it. And then your antenna cable and your antenna that we'll put in the windshield, you got to use those. This one on this particular car we won't use. This is if you need to add an extra starter wire or ignition wire or accessory wire or something like that. And then you got your module. With two pre-programmed remotes. We'll see if these things are still lighting up because this has been on the shelf a couple of years, I think. I never use a hood pin switch anymore on even customers' cars. They just get rusty and don't work anyway. So that we won't use. This little jumper that's taped to the top of this particular car has positive parking lights. So your jumpers right here, you've got negative towards the left and positive towards the right. So we're going to stick this thing towards the right. You've got 3 pins there. So that's going to give you a positive output on this white wire here with the fuse for your parking lights. So for instance, let's get this one opened up. This car doesn't have an alarm on it, so we're not going to worry about that. We will have the parking light and the ground wire, and this red with a white stripe is the trunk release output, which requires adding a relay. So I just depin these, push down on them, and pull them out. You don't need any of these. I'm going to try to do this as fast as I can and edit out just so you guys get the point of how to do this. There, so out of all these wires, you've already eliminated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wires you don't have to worry about. And then we've got this one. I'm 99.9% sure we're not going to need a tachometer wire. I'm going to cut it off, but I'm going to leave it long enough in case we do need it. So this black wire with the brown stripe has to be grounded. The purple white is your tachometer. Like I said, we don't think we're going to need. Your brown wire you will need because that is what you hook to the brake positive wire when you step on the brakes to kill the remote start. Gray is your hood pin switch, and the white or blue white is like if you're going to kick on the rear window defrost. But we're not going to worry about that either. So I'm just going to kind of stagger cut these back. And there, we're rid of those. So I think our next step, let's see, we can go ahead and plug this stuff up. They only plug in where they'll plug in. This is lock and unlock. I'll use the unlock wire to trigger the dome light too for illuminated entry. There's that. And to make this easier, just to get one wire kind of out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and connect these red wires one together. Well, I don't know. We'll look at that when I get into the steering column and see how easy it is to get to those ignition wires. I haven't put one of these on an 89 town car for 15 years, so I'm going to do my best to show you guys what to do. Alright, so while I'm standing here at the workbench, I want this black wire with the white stripe coming out of this plug to go to this black wire here because it's going to get grounded. So I'm just going to go ahead and solder it to it right now. Just strip off this. I keep putting my hands in front of you guys where you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just stripping the insulation off of this black ground wire. Without cutting it. And then I'm going to cut this black white wire right here. Strip it off. I'm going to wrap it right around here. And I'm going to wish I had a new soldering iron before we get this over with today. I can tell you that because this thing's about shot. I didn't think about getting another one. Just get it good and hot. Well, I don't know what happened, guys. The camera just went off, but so we get this hot and the wire will just soak that solder right up. Then and wrap it up. Then I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this stuff all together right here to give it a cleaner look. All right, now we're going to head over to the car. You know, this eventually is going to have to be plugged into your antenna. So I'll just do it. And I'll go ahead and plug the antenna on here, I guess, too, for the time being. So, let's head over to the car. Okay guys, so the first thing you're going to do is get a hold of this piece right here and just pull out at this seam, and it unlocks it, and it just spreads open and slides right off of the tilt lever. So that's out of your way. Then we're going to take this piece off. You got 2 Phillips screws here. Pull this piece straight down. Then we've got clips under, or I don't know, plastic clips, I guess you'd call them. You can spin these off with your fingers. There's 2 of them. Then they just push back on. But got 3, I think, that you spin out with a Phillips, and then kind of pull down, and that releases these. I think there's 3 of them. So that gets this out of the way. Then you've got Phillips screws in this thing. 2 on this side and 3 on this side. It's a lot quieter when that furnace isn't running. 3 on this side, 2 on that side. See, some of them stay up in there, some of them fall out. You just don't know what it's going to do. So, here's all the wires we're going to get to. And we're going to have to snip this little wire tie to get us some more length. So we need to spread all these out. All of your yellow wires are constant 12 volt. This black with a green stripe is an accessory wire. We're going to hook to it. And this gray with a yellow stripe is an accessory wire. We've got to hook to it. These 2 white with pink stripes are your starter, so you can hook to either one. They're coming out of the same one. And I don't know when they switched that. Most Ford starters are red with the blue stripe, but these are white with a pink stripe. And then for an ignition wire, according to the website, we can use either one of these because, and I looked, and I don't know if they could see on here, we power one of these up brown, pink, and red, light green, they both come down here and they get tied together anyway. So if you power one up, they're going to both get powered up. So that's what we're going to do. And I'll explain real quick. The difference between an ignition and accessory, if you don't know. See, your yellow is just constant 12 volts. It's hot all the time. Ignition wires, see, when you turn the key on, you get 12 volts. When you go to start, I'm not going to start it, but see, it stays on for your ignition. It stays powered up the whole time, where an accessory wire gets powered up when you turn it on, but as soon as you go to crank, see, it goes off. When you go to start, it goes off. So that's an accessory wire versus an ignition wire. So the first thing I like to do is get this thing, find a really good place to get it situated up underneath here and tied up, out of the way of everything, out of the way of any moving parts. We'll use wire ties and get this thing tied up. And then you can just extend the wires as far as you need them and cut off all the extra length that you don't need. So I'll have Dad pause it and I'll get it all tied up where I think it should be, and then I'll show you guys where it's at and we'll go from there. All right guys, Dad went in to grab something for lunch. I'm not ready to eat yet. Before I tie this up under there, I just wanted to show you that this red wire with the white stripe for the trunk and the blue green for the door locks is going to have to go all the way over to the passenger side behind the glove box. So I always try to make this look as clean as possible and make a little, I just wrap it. You could use some split loom, but I just do this and wrap it all the way to the end, because we're going to need all this length to get over there to the other side. And then I was going to mention too, I don't normally hook this wire up. This brown wire I got rid of out of here. I can put it back in. That's for the horn. If you want the horn to honk when you lock and unlock it, or you want panic, I don't normally use it, but if you're going to have to program this by hand without a bit writer, you might want the horn. So I think I'll go grab that horn wire and stick it back in there just in case I want to show you guys something. Okay, I grabbed this horn wire that we took out of here, and I bent the tab back out on it so it'll lock in. And it goes right next to the trunk wire, so we're going to go ahead and lock it back in just in case I decide we want to use it. So I'll just wrap it back up with these. Again, just to give it that clean look. Alright. Got this taped up going to the other side and all that. So now I'll get it tied up underneath the dash. Okay guys, I got that thing tied up, well, right up here to an existing wiring harness. And I'm going to have to get to that red plug for my computer. So I want it to be where I could get easy access to it. And I've got this big main power harness all wrapped up to this point, but I stopped. It's right here. I said, that's why I say get it mounted to where you want it, because there's chances are you're not going to need all the length of wire that they gave you. So we're going to be able to cut some of this off. That's why I like to get it tied up like that, because then you can just go over to wherever you're going, and if you don't need that much wire, get rid of it. That way you haven't got a mess underneath the dash. So I'm going to, like, see, we've got 2 constant power wires here, 2 yellow wires, so I'm going to use them, but a lot of times you only have 1. And that's, I started to say earlier, we could eliminate one of these red wires. You can just kind of do like I did with the black, with the white stripe and the black timed together, so you only got 1 ground. I would cut one of these short and then solder it to the other one and just come up to 1, but we've got 2, so I'm going to go ahead and use 2. So I'm going to do like one of these and just kind of come in and out and explain. I'm not going to film all of this, so I'll hand it off to Dad and I'll start this one. I'll get one hooked up and we'll go from there. All right. So, and the phone's ringing, so you might as well stop it for a minute. All right, guys, before we do the ignition, that was, of course, another keyless entry sale. I had to take an order over the phone. Right here is a good place to go ahead and do a ground, so I'm going to go ahead and, what did I do with those wire strippers? Well, I don't see them, and I'm going to need them, but I'll do this for the time being. Come on. I'll fold that over to make sure we get a good crimp on here. I'm getting in the light. Okay, that's going to give us good ground right here. Right there, didn't have to go far for that. All right, so same thing here, guys. Just score a couple areas on this yellow wire. Again, this is your constant 12 volts, and we got 2 of them. And then shave that area off. And we're going to put one of our red wires right here. So just hold it up to it to get the length you need. Get rid of what you don't need. Strip that back, and we're just going to wrap this around here. And this is where it's going to come in that I'm going to wish I had a new soldering iron. So Just going to hold this on here. You got to just go buy a brand new one before you even start. We're just going to hold this on there until it gets hot enough to take this solder, and then it'll just suck it right up and soak through the whole thing. Okay guys, this is hot enough, so we're just going to touch this and just keep touching it, and it's just soaking up all that solder. I don't like breathing that shit.
That don't bother me an effing bit.
You're 80 years old. And a lot of times solder does drip and it just hit the damn tape, so I need to get that off of there. It'll usually peel right off. Just lay something down if you don't have a mat, because it will stick in the carpet. I wasn't worried about it on this one because he's got a rubber mat in here. And then just tape that up real good. All right, we'll pause it and I'll go ahead and do the same thing on this yellow one. And then we'll come back and talk about the ignition and the accessories as I do those. Okay guys, I got all those soldered up. So your purple wire goes to the white pink, either one of them. There's two of them, but it goes to either one for your starter. And then your plain pink goes to the red green, which also at the same time powers up the brown pink. And then the pink with the white stripe is your second ignition, but we've hooked it to an accessory wire, so we got to go into the module and program it. This pink wire with the white stripe is programmable to be ignition or accessory, but the default is ignition, so we've got to change it in the module and make it an accessory wire. We got both the red ones hooked to both of the yellow ones. And we've got the orange is the only accessory wire that it gives you, and it's hooked to the gray with the yellow stripe for the heater. So we got that done. And then this brown wire is for your brake kickoff, like when you step on the brake to kill the remote start. When you get in, it just cancels it out. Yeah, if you hit the brake before you turn the key on, it's going to kill the car. But after you turn the key on, then it cancels out the remote start because it doesn't need to be doing anything anymore. And excuse me, we got two green wires right here going into the back of the turn signal switch. One's coming in from the brake light switch, and the other one's going back out to the third brake light. So you can hook on to either one of these that you want to. So I'll have Dad come around here and hold the camera while I do this. Okay guys, so remember you've got two brown wires. Make sure you've got the correct one. One's for the horn. They are a little bit different. A little bit different shade of brown, and the horn wire is a little bit bigger too. So I just basically kind of wrap this around this main harness coming up to right here, and we only need that much. So we're going to snip this excess off. I'll probably get enough here to double this over. Because it's pretty tiny. I'm going to fold it over. These are tough ones that they sent me this time. I'll turn it over and do it again. make sure we get a good crimp. And like I say, it doesn't matter which one of these green wires, because when you step on the brake, you're going to get power at both of them. So we're going to put a T-tap on one of them. And we're going to plug this in. So that's your brake light wire right there. Now, I guess we can kind of do the same thing. Wrap the horn or the parking light wire around this stuff. Okay, guys, the headlight switch was too much of a pain to get out. You don't have enough slack for the plug to get in there with the pair of channel locks to put a T-tap on it. So I came down here in the passenger kick panel and I just took out this Phillips screw and this Phillips screw, and then there's a Phillips screw in the kick panel itself that goes right here, and then there's a push pin. I just pulled the kick panel back, and there's a brown wire right here in this harness right here. You got two harnesses. Everything's in the way. Okay, you got this harness here that's really wrapped up, and you got this one that you can kind of see some exposed wires here and there. And I pulled this brown wire out, and all you do to make sure you got the right one, I put a T-tap on it, and I grounded the test light, and I just touch it right here, see if that'll stay there, and turn on the parking lights. See, and then you just reach up here and shut it off. That tells us we're on the right wire, so that's where we're going to hook our white parking light wire. So I'll hand this back off to Dad, and hopefully you see good enough. I'm just going to kind of fish this wire up over some things, and you just want to make sure that you're not touching any metal over some metal before it goes down in here. So I am going to put some split loom around it, and we don't even have to really get rid of any because it's took up just about all the length we had. Is it on it? I think so. It's a lot bigger wire than that brake wire. All right, we'll come down here and plug this right on to this T-tap. Now let me see if I can find some loom. Here's a piece. There, that way it's protected if it would happen to be touching anything. And there, I know it's not from that point. So forget about taking the headlight switch out and just pick up your parking light wire down here. And how easy is it going to be to put this thing back in? Since you guys didn't get to see me take it out. the worst part about these kick panels is finding the original hole that Ford put in it. So I didn't hit it there. They're self-tapping, so you can always hit another hole. I always like to find the original one that they hit. Okay, we'll come back to that. This pin, this push pin goes in here. Okay, that's in the same spot. And I'll put this back in. And we got the middle one back here. Now, can we find the original hole? I think I did. All right. So our parking light wire is hooked up. Now we can deal with this antenna. They give you enough antenna wire for a limo. So we're going to fish it up. You can go ahead and back it up, Dad, I guess. And you got all this antenna length. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just kind of drape it over some existing wiring harnesses and things like that. We're going to come up here behind this A-pillar molding, and we're going to try to get it through here and all the way across over to the center of the windshield to stick our antenna on the window. So I probably won't film that because that's going to take a little bit. I'll come back and show you a little bit when I get to the top, but we're probably gonna, there's a screw here and there's one screw down here just to kind of get this loose, maybe. Your fingers out of the way.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we've got this fed through this A-pillar molding. And we want just enough length to get over here, and we're going to stick the antenna right here. And sometimes it'll take you a half a day to get this red stuff off of the back of it. So have your trusty little pick ready to get behind it to peel it off. And we're going to stick the antenna right up here by the mirror so there's nothing really looks out of place. And then we're just going to pull down lightly on this windshield molding and tuck this cable up under it. If you pull too hard, it's going to come unclipped, which it'll clip right back on. And then we'll just feed this on down the whole length of it. Sorry guys, I just want to show you that I've got that all the way down this A-pillar molding and tucked in behind it, and now all I'm doing is tucking it in here. Just don't scratch anything. Dang it. Get it all the way up underneath all this stuff. Well, you get the idea. I can't do it and hold the camera at the same time, but so then we're going to have quite a bit of excess antenna that we're just going to kind of wrap up, you know, like it was, and put a wire tie on it. Any excess like that, so it's tied up to something and out of the way. So that's it for the antenna. We'll be back in a bit. Okay guys, so we're going to go ahead and hook up the horn wire just so we got it. And it's right here at the base of the steering column, and this plug right here, it's yellow with the blue stripe. And the way you can test it is just take a regular old test light, and if it's grounded like it is, if you touch this, the horn should honk. Okay, so that's all this wire is doing, is sending out a negative pulse to the horn relay from the remote start module. So here we're going to put a T-tap on this wire. And I've got the horn wire pulled up here, again wrapped around the main harness, just like the brown brake wire. Cut off the excess. All right, so we'll plug our horn wire in right here. Okay, so that leaves us to go over behind the glove box to the keyless entry module, and that's where we're going to do our trunk release and our door lock. So let me get this wire fed up over here. We're going to have to, again, take off. You're buried.
I gotta get down.
We got to take this panel off below the glove box here to get to those wires, and we may even have to tilt the glove box out. We'll just see what we're going to do, but again, it's just little plastic clips like that, like you're going to pull the Phillips out and pull the clip out. And we're going to get this off and see how easy we can get to that keyless entry module. So, okay guys, it's time to hook up this harness that we brought over here from the other side to do the door locks and the illuminated entry. Now, on a keyless entry car, here's a keyless entry module. This car has factory touchpad keyless entry. So the door lock wires, which are these two green ones and then this pink green, they get negative triggers. Basically, when you hit the switch, oh, I'm on the window. All that switch is doing is supplying a ground to these wires to trigger the lock and unlock relays in here. So I'm telling you that because if you do not have the factory keyless entry touchpad, they're positive triggered. They're not negative triggered. When you hit this switch, you've got a power wire there, not a ground wire. You're sending a positive signal to a lock and unlock relay that are external, and they're bolted right underneath the glove box here. And it's probably pink, yellow, and pink green, the wires. You probably don't have just the green, probably pink, green, and pink, yellow. And they're right here, your lock and unlock relays, and they get positive triggered. So you can't use these negative trigger wires that come from the module. You have to buy this extra thing, which is a part number DLVI from DEI, Directed Electronics. And this plugs directly into the module, and you have to hook this just to a power source, and then that turns these wires into positive trigger. So you got to have that if you don't have a factory keyless entry car. These cost like little or nothing, like maybe $2, $2 or $3, but you've got to have that to convert it over to a positive pulse for your door lock. Also, I went ahead, can you get it down here, Dad, so they can see it? I went ahead and put the connectors on here, and we're going to jump off of this unlock wire over to the illuminated entry to trigger that. That gets a ground when you lift up the door handle. It grounds these white with blue stripe wires right here. And I've already put T-taps on here to show you what I'm doing, because I can't get up behind here with the camera without taking the glove box out and taking a chance on breaking these plastic stops and everything. But it's right here. It's very easy to get to. It's just not easy to get it, well, without me being in the way on the camera. So I'm showing you here what I've done. Are they on you on this? So just get up there. That module is mounted in there like that. These black wires with white stripes are constant 12 volts. So I've already put a T-tap on there. I actually put T-taps on here, and I've already got T-taps on the module in the car to show you what I'm plugging into. So this is your 12 volt constant power. You've got two white with blue stripes, one coming from each door to trigger your illuminated entry. And it doesn't matter which one you put it on. It doesn't matter which one of these black with white ones you put it on. The trunk release is a power. It gets 12 volts supplied to it from the button and from the keyless entry module. If you don't have keyless entry, you know, you still got the power trunk. You can pick it up right here. It's going to be the same color of wire that gets a power trigger going out to the trunk. And then your door locks are two greens, one from each door, or is negative lock, and you got pink green, which is negative unlock, and it doesn't matter which one of those you put on. So then, did I already mention this diode? Okay, so this green is your negative lock coming from there. So we're going to go green to green, and then we're going to put the blue on the unlock, I think is what we're talking. But if you lift up the door handle, it's going to supply, you know, this is going to be plugged onto that illuminated entry module. This is only if you want your illuminated entry to work. You don't even have to mess with this. But this is a 1 amp diode. You can get them at any electronics store. I went ahead and soldered this in here, just made a jumper, and this is going to plug onto that illuminated entry wire, the white with the blue stripe. So I'm going to get under here and plug these in. Actually, I'm going to wrap that diode up with some tape, because if it touches anything ground-wise, we could be unlocking the doors. I just wanted you to see what I did. Okay, so I'm going to get under here and I'm going to plug in the door locks and the illuminated entry. What did I do with the light? Pause it so I could get me a light. Okay, I got me a light so I can see what I'm doing here. So the green is our negative. I think it's locked. I don't remember. We'll see if it's backwards. So okay, that one on there. And unlock is blue, so we want to put this one from the module first on the unlock wire, which is pink green. And then we're going to take our jumper with the diode and go over to the white with blue stripe illuminated entry, so we will trigger the dome lights when we hit unlock. Okay, so where's our remotes? Because right now our locks should work. I'll aim it over here. All right, so okay, you lock. Unlock. Push your door button in. This button right here. See if our dome light's on. You push it in? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. The dome light's on. Let's see if it times out. There it went. Dome lights are off. So locks are working and the illuminated entry's working. So now, look at me. You guys need to get yourself a pigtail and just a 30-40 amp relay. This is just a standard relay that's used for a lot of things. And I've already got one wired up. And it's got your numbers on it. You got 80, let's see, 86, 87, 85, 30, and 87A. And then just get a pigtail that will plug directly into that. This is what you have to have for the trunk pop. And I've already got one ready. So 87A is this red wire in the center that we don't use. So I've cut it and it just ends right here. 86 and 87 are these black, yellow, and they are together and they get hooked to that constant 12 volt, the black with white stripe wire that I showed you. This one right here. I'm going to put that on there. That's your power to the relay. And all this stuff is already fused with the car, so you don't have to refuse it. 85 is this white wire, number 85, and I'm going to plug it right here. I got a male and a female. And then the blue one is the number 30, and it plugs onto that purple with the yellow stripe trunk release wire. So I'll do that. And plug this one into the power. Black with the white stripe. Now, by holding the trunk button for 3 seconds, the trunk should pop. Okay, the trunk opened. So, and I heard the relay click. So, all we got to do now is tie this stuff up here real nice and put this piece back on. And then it's time to do the programming of the remote start module. So I'll get this all buttoned up and we'll be back in a little bit. Okay guys, one thing I want to explain, I got ahead of myself, because also if your car has the factory anti-theft alarm, when you open the doors, the alarm's going to go off because the keyless entry is not disarming it. So this harness here that I took out, you know, where I replaced the horn wire, I decided we'd leave the horn wire in and I put it back in right next to the trunk wire. Well, the one all the way out here on the outside would be this green with a black stripe. That's your disarm wire. You'd need to leave that in there, and your disarm relay is right below here next to your door lock relays, you know, on cars. Well, you have to have the factory keyless entry to have the anti-theft alarm, so you're not going to have one or the other. But if you've got keyless entry with the anti-theft alarm, it's going to be right down here where I said your door lock relays would be on a non-keyless entry car. And I believe that wire is also green that you're going to tap into on your disarm relay. So you will need to leave this in there instead of taking all these. When you take all these out like I did, you would need to leave this one all the way over here on the end in there, because you're going to need that. So it's going to send a ground signal out when you hit unlock on the remote to disarm the alarm. So that's one thing that I overlooked. So I don't know, maybe we'll put one of these on my special edition. I don't know yet, but okay, we got to get ready and show you guys how to program this thing. So let's get to it. Okay guys, it's time to program this module. And it looks intimidating, but it's really not that bad. I used to do it this way all the time. You use the program button and the remote to do it. This program button and wire has a blue plug. It plugs into the blue port on the module. You can't mess it up. It's just that they've got this bit writer. They used to have these, and I bought one, and I always did. It plugs into the module, and I program it that way. But we'll go back to this just to make sure that we did get it correct in here. You don't have one at home, so you'll just have to try it and see what happens. But I may start selling some of these and have them pre-programmed. I don't know. But anyway, it's not that big a deal.
Menu 1, we're not going to change anything in menu 1. Everything we're going to do here is in menu 2. Menu 2, feature 1 is engine checking. That's how it knows the car is running. And it's set, anything in bold here is what the factory default is. So factory default is virtual tach. So we're going to try it and see how it starts on virtual tach. The best way to do it is, honestly, you run that purple with the white stripe wire that we eliminated somewhere through the firewall out to the negative side of the coil. I believe it's a green with the white stripe wire. Don't hook it to the constant, ignition side. Hook it to the other side. I think that's red wire, but you want to go with the green, white, I believe. If you do hook up a tach wire, and you're going to have to change it to tachometer reading. But we're going to see how it does on virtual tach, and then we may go to voltage, because then that reads the voltage. And it takes a little bit longer for the parking lights to come on if you have to set it to voltage, but we may have to do that. I don't know how it's going to start on virtual tach, but we're going to leave it there for the time being. So we will change the run time from 24 minutes or from 12 minutes to 24 minutes. Now, on the bit writer, you can go in 1 minute increments, but the way that you do it with this, you can only leave it on 12 or go to 24 or 60, and I don't recommend you letting your car sit out there and run for 60 minutes. That's just dumb. So, activation pulse, number 5. That is press and release this button once, the start button, to start the car. And I don't like that because carrying it in your pocket or a woman carrying it in her purse, sometimes it can get pressed and the car will start. So I'm going to move it over to 2. You can go all the way to 3, but I'm going to make it to where you got to press and release it twice to start the car and shut the car off that way too. And then number 6, second ignition behavior. The default setting is ignition. That is that pink wire with the white stripe that we hooked on that accessory wire. And we want it to act as an accessory where we want it to power up but then go off during crank and then come back on, because we hooked that to an accessory wire, not an ignition wire, but the factory default's ignition. So we're going to move that one over to accessory. So what you do is you turn your ignition on and then you turn it back off and you hold this button down, and the horn's going to honk once for menu 1. But we don't want menu 1, so we're going to continue holding the button, and then the horn's going to honk twice, and we're going to release the button, and then we're going to press and release the button twice, and then hold the button down, and then we're going to hit this unlock button on the remote, and it's going to move it over to 24 minutes, and the horn should honk twice to let you know that you selected option 2. Now, you can just, after that, press it the consecutive times you want to go up to the next one, but that gets a little bit confusing. So I'm going to just do them one at a time. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to turn the ignition back on and back off, and you're going to hear a really loud honk. And then we're going to start over and go down to the next one, because it gets a little confusing, especially holding the camera. Then we're going to go down to activation pulse after we change the runtime, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then release it, and then hold it again, and it's going to honk 5 times, and we're going to hit the unlock, and the horn should honk twice to take us over to 2 pulses to start the vehicle. So then we'll check it in the bit writer to make sure we got it all right. So let's get started. Key on, key off. We're going to hold the button down. Horn honk, keep holding it. Twice, release it. That's menu 2. Now, we're going to hold it down again. Okay, I already messed up because it's hard holding this camera and making sure I'm on it and doing all this and explaining it. So here we go again. Key on, key off. Hold the button. Horn will honk once. Okay, that's menu 1. Keep holding it. Menu 2, release it. We want number 2. 1, 2, hold it. Horn honks twice to let us know we're in the menu or on number 2. Okay, I pressed the unlock. Turn the key on, turn it back off. It honked twice to let us know that we are in on 24 minutes. So let's see that we got that changed. We're going to read from the unit. We're going to go all the way up to runtime. Okay, engine runtime, 24 minutes. So it did work. All right. So we're going to do this again. Key on, key off. Hold the button down. Keep holding it. Menu 2, release it. We want activation pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it 5 times. Honk. Release the button. Turn it on. Turn it back off. And that takes it out of program mode. So that was number 5. We wanted 2 pulses. Let's go in here and go up to activation pulse and make sure that it got over on 2 pulses. Like I said, you guys don't have this, but the horn honks and tells you which one you're in. And if you go up too far, like it when we hit this and it goes up and it goes honk honk, you can hit it again and it'll go honk honk honk. That means you selected option 3. And then you can hit lock and go back and hit it again and go back to 1. I hope you get what I'm saying. So, okay, activation pulse number, it's set on 2 now. So that worked as well. So now, let's see. I don't remember if I showed you this, but I will. Read from unit. Okay, see, second ignition behavior, same as ignition. So, and that's 1. See, second ignition behavior is ignition. It's on 1. So we want to move it over to accessory. So I'm going to power this back off. We're going to turn the key on. We're going to hold it and go past 1. It's going to honk twice. We're going to release it to let us know because we're in menu 2. And then we're going to go down to 6. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then hold it. And then hit the remote to jump over to number 2. So here we go. On, off. Hold it. Menu 1. Menu 2, release it. We want number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it. Honk 6 times to let you know it's there. Hit unlock. Honk twice to let you know that you're on option 2. Now you can just sit here and the horn, it'll go out itself. Now hold on here. If you just sit not doing anything, it's going to go out of program mode on its own. See there? It went out on its own. But if you turn the key on and back off, that takes it out as well, or starts you back over. So now let's turn this on and see if we got number 6, second ignition behavior changed the way to where we wanted it. We want it to act as an accessory. See, second ignition behavior, same as accessory output. So that's exactly where we wanted it. Activation pulse is 2, that's where we want it. Engine run time, 24 minutes. But see, actually, with this, I can go up one more to 25 and select right. And then I don't know why, but you have to zero out your remote transmitters. Oh. Press right. Right was successful. So let's go back up and see. See, I set the engine run time on a 25 minutes, where you can do that with this, but we set it on 24 with this. So that's all there is to programming it. So now we got to press and release this twice, and let's see how it acts on virtual tach. And if it doesn't start the first time, it will always set a little bit and it'll shut down, and it'll make 3 attempts to start. So let's see it. What happens? 1, 2. Parking lights flash, lets you know you made contact. It started the first time on virtual tach. So let's press it twice to shut it off. Let's see what happens again. 1, 2. It's starting pretty good on virtual tach. So let's go out here. I thought we might have to change it to voltage. And if you change it to voltage, then your parking lights don't come on for a little bit. So press and release it twice. Parking lights flash, let you know you made contact. We may leave it on virtual tach and see how it worked. So Dad's going to wind up rubbing the paint off this car. Okay, so hitting lock flashes your parking lights once. If you hold down lock, you get panic. Unlock flashes your parking lights twice. Holding the trunk down for 3 seconds opens the trunk. And remember, well, illuminated entry went off, so lock, unlock, turns on your illuminated entry. As soon as you turn the key on, it will kick it off, or it will time out. So let's try starting it again. I didn't really think virtual tach would be great on this car. I thought we may have to go to voltage. So press it twice. It's doing fine. So we're going to leave it on virtual tach for right now. Like I say, if it doesn't start the first time, it will time out, shut down, it'll make 3 attempts, and it will usually always start on the second time. But we're going to leave it on virtual tach right now and see how it goes. We may wind up switching it to voltage. Alright guys, so I unplugged the program switch. There's no reason to leave it in there. Got the bit writer unplugged. We're going to go ahead and put a wire tie back around here where we cut the original one off. And then we can start putting this stuff back together. Got to put our 5 Phillips screws back in. All right, guys, that leaves us with 2 more pieces. That piece is clipped on. Slide this piece up. All right, that's it. All right, then the last thing you want to do is put this sticker on here that gives anybody that's working on this car, which there's rarely anybody touches these cars but us, but let them know that it does have a remote start on it. Just I stuck it right there. That don't mean anybody's going to see it or not, but anyway, it's there. So that is all there is to putting a remote start on one of these cars. It's just really that simple. So if you guys want to try it, don't hesitate contacting me to help you get through it. I think I showed you everything pretty good. Probably be putting one on a OBS Ford truck soon too. So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it gives you the confidence to try this yourself. It really makes like a different car out of it. Don't? Oh yeah. It's so nice to have remote start. You go out and get the car, it's warm for mom and dad, and plus that remote keyless entry, she's so used to it because I had it on that other car for 15 years before it got destroyed. So they just really miss it. Just really update your car. So yeah, stay tuned.
My bedroom window, raise the garage door, and start the car from the bedroom. If my grandpa seen that, he thought I'd lost my damn mind.
Yeah, he would. Well, now you'll be able to do it again. They haven't had one since the white car got destroyed. So, all right, guys, please remember to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other of these repair videos. I got quite a few coming up. And to you LTD guys, don't worry. It's still here. The station wagon's still here. I haven't done anything without you. We're going to get back to these things. Just bear with me. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.